Hello, here I am again. Happy Wednesday. I think we're about halfway through because this is stage 11. Yeah, just about halfway through. I have not been thinking about spinning this morning. In fact, I got to get my brain in spinning mode because it's been all about socks this morning. I was on Sock Madness. I made it through the qualifier. I did not make it through round one because the pattern came out the night before my surgery, and I missed too much time until I was like focusing and knitting to get them done. That's all right. Getting through the qualifier got me the patterns, and so I have been going through the process of trying to get those patterns this morning. It comes to you in emails. They are all on Ravelry, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't have any trouble with that, but it is what it is right now because that's where Sock Madness is. And some they're just free, you can get them, and some you have to have a code which they send to you in the email, and then you get them. And all told, there was probably about 20 different patterns, and I was having trouble keeping them all straight. And I think I pretty much have them all. My one complaint is that Ravelry, if you go to the pattern and you say put it in my library, Ravelry will say check, it's in your library. But if you actually go to open up that pattern, you don't have it. You have to either, it'll say, what do you want to do? You want to download it if it's available, or do you want to buy it? And the ones that were, do you want to buy it, that's what I had codes for. And so after I figured that out, then I had to go back and go through all of them to make sure that I actually had them in the library. Because just because Ravelry says it's in your library, it isn't unless you actually do something about that. And so it's one little complaint about Ravelry that is confusing. And to do that for 20 sock patterns took some time as well as a list. So anyway, I'm going to get my brain around spinning now, and we're going to do some spinning. Save Young. I'm going to call you Save. Hi, good afternoon, welcome. How are you today? Glad you could join me. You're very prompt. We're just getting started. So I was doing a lot of other little projects. And that sock thing and a little bit of housework, and now I gotta sit and spin. This will be the only spinning I do today. Let's see here. You're putting your kiwi together, and I saw you were streaming, so I thought I would pop in. That sounds awesome. I thought okay, you may not be the one that just got the kiwi that I keep reading about in Discord, but I thought that one was already together. Anyway, or did you take it apart to clean it? Which is always an awesome thing to do. Give it a little tender, loving care and maintenance. Learn how it goes together and works. Never a bad idea to understand how your wheel works. When I get this bobbin spun, and then probably in the morning, because I like to leave a bobbin sit at least a little bit, I'll ply it, and this goal will be finished for this tour to fleece. Save says, I am that one. I took the bobbin part off yesterday to unwind the yarn that the previous owner spun, and now I'm getting it all back together. Yes, I saw the yarn actually. That was quite a score, wasn't it? That was nice yarn. At least as far as how it looks. And I wasn't you know, you never know how it feels by the pictures. You have to take their word for. You have to ask, right? You have to have somebody tell you. No way to know softness in a picture. But I love the color. The color was very nice. Actually, I want to tell you that I'm more envious. It was a wonderful thing to get the kiwi, but I am more envious of your she shed because that's something that I always thought would be really cool and never have had. I have a big house. There's just no reason to, but you know, I like the idea of a space that's far, far away from everybody else. Okay, that is bizarre. This is something I have never found in roving. And you know what it is? You can't, I don't know if you can see it. You see it right there? And I hope people see this on the VOD. That is one of my drum carder teeth. Yeah. How about that? It came out during the drum carding processing. I mean, it's totally unbendable. It is metal. And I have seen along the edge of the cloth of my drum carder, I am losing teeth. But that was a first for me to find one while I was spinning. And you know what? It's a good thing I saw it because that can hurt. That would actually draw blood if you hit it wrong. Save says, because I know next to nothing about spinning, it's an adventure. It's very soft after a washing. Oh, that's good. That's good. And yes, she saw my drum carder tooth. Fortunately, only one. I can't believe that. That's a first. I don't think I could get a picture of it to post, but I did stick it over here on my desk. We'll see. And mine, drum carder has very, very, very fine teeth, you know, so the metal is very, very fine. Some people have larger, thicker teeth on their drum carder, which would be even worse. Don't know where to put this so that I don't lose it. It seems like everywhere I think it might get knocked off. Well, welcome to the wonderful adventure of spinning. Always glad to have somebody join us because, my goodness, I have spun for so many years, over 40 years. Okay, this is too much twist because somehow the take-up got moved down, and that's too much take-up. Let's go down a little bit. I don't know who messes with my spinning wheels when I'm Not sitting at them. There shouldn't be anybody. No, the in this particular case, the tension band runs over the flyer, and I move that flyer in order to get the bobbin off. And so it's in the process of putting a new bobbin on that it happens. I know that, but I always forget to check it before I start spinning. Uh-oh. That was a big chunk. Don't want that. Goodness gracious, there we go. Stop and start, stop and start. Head full of bees, how are you? Yeah, I love it when I see your name pop up. I'm doing pretty good. It's good to see you. Hope you're family, you and your family are all well. Uh-oh, I moved it too much. I am currently in the midst of Tour de Fleece. Are you familiar with that? Connected with Tour de France? So I actually have streamed every day since it started, which was, there was a rest day yesterday. This is the 12th day, but 11th stage of the Tour de France. I didn't stream Monday, the rest day. Headful B says, I tried some once, but I was a newbie and wasn't prepped too well. Oh, the Tour de Fleece. I thought you said Turin. Oh, Tour de Fleece. Sorry, I was mumbling a little bit. Different answer. Yes, you're familiar, but you've never participated. Okay. Well, Team Twitch. There's a Team Twitch, and it's on Discord. And so the vast majority of what I've been doing has been in direct relation to their goals. Okay, and they are a pretty good source for a lot of people who are spinners and stream, and we can tell each other, when we're going to stream, we can kind of plan it so we don't overlap. We can then watch the streams to support the other ones that are streaming. As far as I know, right now there's nobody else on Team Twitch streaming, but that's really what my focus has been. And one of the things they had was set a goal before we started and try to meet that goal. And the goal was the number of ounces, grams that you spin. How much are you going to spin? Mine divided into pretty much 4 different projects. Let's see. That might not be the right number, but I had Shave 'em to Save 'em fibers, 3 different fibers to spin, and I had CVM fleece that I'm currently still going to spin. It's back there in those bags for what they call a sweater spin. It's the amount of yardage that you're trying to meet the goal. This one here it's in the goal, but it's another from Ravelry where it's take a raw fleece to another, to process through the processing. You can start at any point in the processing. So this one I had already washed and I drum carded it. I'm just basically spinning it during the tour. I didn't want to do any processing during the Tour de Fleece. So I had everything all ready. I really gave my drum carder a good workout before it started. I think I carded a total of 15 or 16 bats before this started. So I'm well on my way to making my goal, and I'm happy about that. And I've been doing most of the spinning on stream. Or watching the actual race, the Tour de France. Which I like. I enjoy watching it. Hi, Knots and Stitches. Knots and Stitches says I'm spinning on my wheel and arguing with the cat about not laying on the clean clothes. You're not going to win that, are you? Yes, Headful Bees. This is one of my major pushes as far as spinning. It will sometimes continue through Olympics. This year, though, I am going to knit during the Olympics. I have a specific project that I want to knit, so I'm making that my goal during the Olympics. Take a break from spinning. I did not make my notes for today. Day or stage 11. It has been really fun to stream every day. It is quite a commitment. Last time I did it was the 12 days after Christmas, and I made it through all 12 days. This will be longer, so it will be the longest stretch. I am coming up on my 1 year streamiversary. It's, I think, July 26th. I have to double check the date again, but I have been streaming now almost a year. A lot has happened in that year. We were right in the middle of the pandemic. I had surgery on my knee this year in March. So a lot has gone on. A lot of spinning's gone on because I spin a lot on the streams. Oh, you just got a drum carder. Headful of Beast says, I just got a drum carder. I'm practicing with it. I'm doing better. I'm getting the feel for it. I'm processing fleece that started out raw, and I am determined to be able to make a yarn that is usable for knitting. Did you wash the fleece first, or are you trying to do it in the grease? Do you know what breed the fleece is? Drum carding is hard work. Now, my drum carder is pretty big, but it is manual crank. And I generally have to stand at it. I can sit, but it's just a little easier on my shoulders because it is at the correct height for standing. So there are drum carders that are smaller and can sit on a table easily, that sort of thing. Let's see what she said. Yes, my first attempts were done with a mystery longish wool. I think some form of Leicester. That sounds right. That was a fermented suet bath. Okay. Went okay, but not the wool I'm great with. My next attempt, I scoured with wool scour, yes, and it's a Swedish fine wool. Ooh. And you have a medium tooth Lewitt. So the only thing you may run into, if it really is a real fine wool, is your medium tooth might not separate the fibers nicely. You may end up with a bat that has, clumps of fiber in it because of the distance between the teeth. Oh, okay, I just got hit by bots, so let's get rid of these nuisances. I have so much trouble getting to the ones we want to ban. I can't get rid of the other one. Here it is. I should do some kind of setting cooldown. That probably would help that. Let's see if I can find that in the chat settings. I could, what is slow mode? Requires users to wait between sending messages. No, that's not what I want. I could do followers only. The thing is, I cannot get, once I do the click on their thing, I cannot get rid of it. It sits there in my chat. I'm going to have to, head full of bees, you may have to redo that last chat. Why can't I get rid of that? Okay. Oh, this is a nuisance. I cannot get this to go away. How can I get it to go away? That is such a nuisance. Yes, not in stitches. Do you know what? I had to grab it and drag it up above the chat. Yes, I cleared the chat. I'm sorry. I apologize. I cannot figure out how to get where I click on their name and then I ban them, right? And I haven't reported them. I've given up trying to report anything. So whatever setting there is, it must be in, not here, but in the, on the panel. I'm in, hi, at the bottom of chat, where the setting wheels is, I got it. Okay, what do I need to put? That, I have a slow mode, I don't want to do followers only. Pause, deleted message, chat appearance, show messages caught by automod, show mod icons. All right. You can toggle on show mod icons. Oh, my cat's coming. Oh, that's a good thing. All right. I can toggle on show mod. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. I toggled that on. And by the way, welcome, Atomic, welcome, Stacy. I really appreciate the help. And then next to every line in chat is the band timeout and icon. I see it. And thank you. Now you better get back to work. Or stick around here a minute and see if the cat will come up here in my lap, because I haven't let him come into the stream for a while. Hi there, buddy. You want to come up here? Huh? You want to come up here? We're going to tell them all about your trauma today. Come on. Yeah. Oh, he's got to rub over everything. Yep. He is going to have to rub on everything. This is mine, and this is mine, and this is mine. His name is Newman, for those of you that haven't met Newman. Come on. Usually I'm treadling. I'm spinning on electric today, and usually I'm treadling, and he goes and rubs on the wheel, and I was like, you're going to lose a whisker that way. Hey, buddy. Want to come up here? And yes, I let him decide. I don't pick him up. He was a feral cat before. He loves us dearly. We love him dearly. But he decides what is done when, because of his instincts to immediately, come on. I'm waiting. Come on. Oh, you just want me to pet down there? Come on up here. All right, I'm going to ignore him. That usually works. Hey, buddy, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to pick up fiber and spin. He had a trauma this morning, so I'm not surprised he's just a little standoffish. Nothing that we caused. We were both sitting on the porch, and he was out there, and he gave out this earth-shattering screech and was shaking, and I think he was shaking his head, and then went running off, and what was left was this enormous soldier beetle with the pinchers, and I think he got it in the mouth or around his face or maybe his paw with the pincher, and he skedaddled. This is the first I've seen him since it's happened, and I even sent hubby out to look for him. He cannot be found if he doesn't want to be found. Hi, buddy. Yes, I feel you. You had a traumatic morning, didn't you? I'd like to look and see if you're doing all right. You'd get up on my lap. You gonna come up here? Huh? You wanna come up here? Oh, I see you. Come on. I think that's what he's avoiding, because I think he knows I'm going to try and look. But he seems to be walking fine. I don't see any limping or stepping cautious. I know, poor guy. Hey, you've got an audience. You better get up here. Yes, I agree with you. We were actually kind of worried that he was trying to eat it and it got his tongue. Was what we were worried about the most. Yeah, come on. All right. Yeah. Now let me get the camera on you. There we go. There we go. I'm going to turn the music down so they can hear you purring. Mm-hmm. Does that feel good? Yeah, I don't know if it'll teach him or not. Stitches says that'll teach him. He is a handsome boy in his tuxedo. Yeah, I think everything is fine. But you got us all worried. You had us all worried, yeah. We were all worried. He was a rescue from the Humane Society, and one of the things they do after they get them off the street and neuter them is do a little clip of the ear right there. That's how they know if they were put them back on the street that they're neutered. Turned out that they decided he was maybe adoptable, so they put him out in the adoption room for a while, and we happened along. So fortunately, he ended up with paradise because he has 15 acres to run on. He has his own private cat door, and he gets canned food, half a can twice a day. He goes out and catches and hunts, and he is just one happy cat. One happy cat. Yeah, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay. You should look at the camera, though. Yeah, you should look at the camera. Over here. Over here. You're too interested in getting the pets. Getting all the pets. All right. You should go out and go sit in hubby's lap too, so he knows. He's worried too. He needs to know you're all right. Mm-hmm. All right. Stacy, thank you so much. That little thing right beside the names is very helpful. Very helpful. Thank you. You ready to get down? You're starting to twitch your tail. Yeah, I think you're ready to get down, aren't you? You're shedding. You're shedding. Want to go over there to the bed? Want to go over there to the bed? All right. I can read your mind, cat. This, if headful bees are still here, this is basically half of a bat that I get off the drum carder. So you can see how big it is. It's a very big drum carder. All right, let's get this back on the, there we go. Well, it has fluffed some because I've been pulling on it. It's not, and unfortunately, well, here, I can show you this one. This is sort of what they look like when they come. This is a different fiber, it's CVM. But that's what it looks like when I roll it up to store it, and then I unroll it like that. So it is. It's a wonderful, it's about an ounce in the bat, about an ounce of fiber. It will vary from, 3/4 to ounce and a quarter, depending how much I pack on there. But before you all got here, I was spinning and I saw something shiny in the drafting zone, and if you take a look right there in my palm, no, cat, if you take a look right there, whoops, see that that is a drum carder tooth. That is the first I've ever found one in my fiber. It came off the card, it came out of the carding cloth, and that could have hurt. All right, If you're going to sit there, that's fine. I'm going to spin though. And spin your fur in it. You make it hard to see, Newman. Oh, hang on a minute. I have to. Hang on a minute. I'm going to put this on, be right back. I got to go tell husband. He's out there yelling for him again, so. Go on. Go on. Okay, I'm back. I heard Hubby going, here, kitty, 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 here, kitty, kitty. Well, he was trying to see if Newman was hiding somewhere upstairs. So now he knows he's okay and he's back. You know what? Looks like. Huh. All right. Yeah. The problem with drum carded bats is you get everything in there you really don't want. It does not. It'll take some vegetable matter out. It will do that because the process of brushing the fiber between the two drums does open it up and allow the vegetable matter to fall out if it's not being held there by sticky fleece. But it will take up everything. It takes up the short stuff like I just pulled out. It takes up the little bumps and neps and things like that. So your absolute best spinning fiber is top, where you comb it, because that does remove all that stuff. I tend to do more drum carding than anything. Sometimes it's because I want to spin lofty and I spin with more of a long draw. This is not a long draw. This is a worsted style spinning, pinch and pull, but mostly the difference is between where you actually allow the twist to go. If I'm long drawing, the twist will run, I let go, and it runs all the way back here to the fiber supply. If I'm pinching and pulling, I'm holding the twist away from the fiber supply until I slide down and smooth the drafting zone. That's the difference between a woolen and worsted spinning. And this is worsted. You can do, traditionally you do woolen with a bat and worsted with top, but you can do either one with either prep, because it really has to do with where you allow the twist to go, where and when you allow the twist to go. So unfortunately, because this is the best of the fleece, I still am losing some of it because I don't want I'm trying to make a very smooth yarn. This is a third of a fleece. It was a ram. It is Rambouillet. And it was the best. I pulled out the best to do this part of it. The rest is going to go into a dye pot and get dyed with black walnuts. This I hope I can just make a nice lacy scarf or something for me to wear. I may dye the yarn later. I don't know. Oh, and so it begins. Pouring rain, pouring rain. I knew it was coming. We are supposed to get rain all the way. Oh, I forgot to ask Stacy if she's doing all right with the storm. Evidently she is. She has internet. I'm assuming she may be working now. So this is not that storm. I'm not real sure why, what storm pattern we're getting, but we're supposed to have rain all the way through till Monday. And it is pouring. My goodness. Oh my. Well, that's just wrapped around there. Little piece of hay, it's no big deal, but it's not coming out. We spent some time this morning. It wasn't too bad outside. The humidity wasn't even all that bad. Sitting on the porch, having our coffee and conversation, and forget where I was going to go with that. I told you about Newman. Anyway, it was nice to sit on the porch for a while. This morning, with the heat and everything, and especially evenings have been really hard unless I spray myself. There are critters that just love to snack on my blood. The mosquitoes are bad right now this time of year. So I don't go out too much in the evenings right now. Well, if it rains now, maybe it'll kind of pass on through. I had planned to go out tonight. There is a knitting meetup that is new in the area. I thought maybe I would try and make an appearance, talk to them, and see if the rumor is true that the lady who is doing it is going to open up a yarn store sort of near here, so in the city where I used to work, Louisville. So I'm anxious to find out, because right now there is not a local yarn store in Louisville. There's only big box stores. I would love to see that store come back. Sorry, I'm not real chatty today. That's the downside of streaming every day. But hopefully the music and the spinning is sufficient. I know many people say that they find it real soothing to watch spinning. I find it very soothing to be spinning. Oh, and since it's raining, I don't hear thunder or lightning, but if I disappear, I probably will not come back since I've been on an hour now. Oh, I should stretch. Um, Point being that, I got a good stream in, at least an hour today. Um, Never know about the internet when the weather gets wonky like this. Oh, my grandson, this is his first week of outside camp. Well, it's not completely outside. They have buildings. He's going to have a rainy day. He's going to have a rainy week. That's too bad. Probably the worst is that you know, it may keep him out of the swimming pool, which is his favorite part, unfortunately. Of course, he would be getting done at right about now anyway. They don't go for a full 8 hours. And probably come home dripping wet. Oh, goodness. Oh, to be a kid again, huh? Just about done here. Kind of losing my integrity of the drum carding as I pull this apart, unfortunately. Which is fixable because I brought my hand cards, and I am going to do some hand carding. Probably just one bat. Uh-oh. There is one thing I have not done on stream yet that you can do with these bats, and that is pull through a diz. I should do that just to show it, but didn't really feel like I had the need to do that, but it does a good job of making your pre-drafting. You don't really need to pre-draft then. If you use the smaller the hole you use on the diz, the less pre-drafting you have to do. So if you use a standard buttonhole size, a lot of times you still are getting a lot of fiber going in there, and you're going to have to pre-draft it. If you use a true diz, which is almost like a hole that you took maybe your big sewing needle for knitting, and the plastic ones won't work, but punched it through something. Usually it's like a piece of milk jug or a piece of plastic if you're homemaking one. But it's a tiny hole, and in that case you're not going to be able to pull a lot of fiber through, and you're going to end up with a very, very thin roving. It's still technically roving, but you're going to have an awful lot of fibers aligned up. So it's kind of halfway between roving and top. One of the problems I run into when I do bats is that I'll say, okay, I'll do one bat per bobbin, but the bats are various sizes and my bobbins never come out even. I don't try to make that a thing that happens. I have no problem winding off a ply ball or doing a little bit around my hands or whatever. So, it's alright. It doesn't come out even. If it's a big spin where I have a lot of bats, I just, add to what's left over, add more. That's what's going to happen with the CVM that I'm going to be spinning next. It's a lot of bats there. I had 15 bats to start with, and I have spun 4 of them already. Okay. I am going to make one bat with my hand carders. So there'll be a little bit of noise. Unfortunately, I have enough fiber for 2 very thin bats, or 1 thick and 1 barely there bat. So I am going to go and take the good one off, but leave what's left over here. Yeah, I think I'll reload it. Almost grabbed the bat I just made. Keep that out of the way. I got 2 nice bats out of that. Got some left over that's probably not worth using. Alright, we're going to finish this bobbin up. This is it. People are being chatty on Discord. I have my iPad in here because that's how I take my pictures for. I did a before on this bobbin with the weight, you know, to post it on Discord for Team Twitch. So the alerts are going off. After I finish this, I'm going to see how the silk spins. I've been spinning it on my Nano. It is, the biggest problem is it's so hot, even with the air conditioner on. It's so hot and humid right now, and my hands are sweaty. I think it's just going to stick to me. And I didn't bring anything else to work on. Well, you know, I could start a... Actually, I think instead I'm going to start a bobbin of the CVM. And the reason is because I have to work on this electric at least through the weekend because of the problems I'm having with my knee. And so that means I got to spend some of the CVM on this. Might as well go ahead and do 2 bobbins. I think I was talking about that yesterday in the stream. That didn't join. Feels like it, but it's wonky. Save says, honestly, it's probably me. I'm having problems with your kiwi and wool. What kind of problems? You're probably still getting used to the wheel. Are you talking about humidity? Because that's what I was just talking about. And drafting. Can't do anything about that. You know, even in a supposedly climate-controlled environment. Now, it's a very old house I live in, so nothing is airtight. But we do run air conditioner, and that should keep humidity down, but not when it's raining. 100% humidity out there. I just realized I didn't pre-draft these. They're not as thick as the drum carder bats, so I didn't really need to. It's raining there. The wool keeps pulling away in clumps instead of thin fibers and shreds the yarn, and it's not spinning around the bobbin properly. Okay, well, you got multiple things going right now. The wool may not be clean enough that it's sticky, so it's not drafting well. If it's something you bought commercial prep, it should be, though. You shouldn't have that problem with something that is a dyed, like, you know, a dyed roving or something that you bought. So that's your drafting problem, is shreds the yarn is, I don't know quite what you're saying, but it's not spinning around the bobbin properly means you need more take up. You need more tension. Adjust it so that it pulls towards the bobbin more. Okay, you know, pulls out of your hand more, so that you feel that. Not so much that it takes it away from you, but that would be the not spinning around the bobbin right. Or you have it caught somewhere as it's supposed to be feeding in. I've done that. You know, you're not on your hooks right, so check that. It's very, very, very hard. That just happened is what I mean by shreds. It's very hard to diagnose a spinning problem, a spinning wheel problem. Just take a guess. All right, let me take a picture of this so I don't forget. And a picture of the next bobbin. Well, that's just an even 4.0. Where it pulled out of your hand. So it's too much. Maybe it's too much pull. Okay. So where you're drafting your fiber. Oh, I don't want this one. I have to keep my bags separate here. So when you're pulling your fiber and drafting, then this is crappy fiber, but okay, like this, and it's your bobbin spinning and you're pulling and you're drafting. What you're saying is either this is pulling out in clumps, but the wheel's not taking it in, or the wheel is pulling it so hard that you're getting clumps like this. First or second? Save says, honestly, as I sit here thinking about it, it's because the wool has been sitting in the bag for 7+ years. And it's too tight. This is wool I got from the woman you bought. Yes. Okay. Do you have hand carders or comb or anything? But definitely fluff it until it's almost, fluff it really, really good. That should help a lot. And if it was a dyed fiber, it may be felded. If it was in a humid environment, packed tight, you may be running into felding. Sad to say. I didn't think about that you would be spinning. I remember you got a lot of fiber with it too. I remember that. In the picture. Is there another fiber you could try? That's a possibility. Since you're just learning and experimenting anyway. You don't have carders? I just asked Discord if they have an economic carder recommendation. Yeah. I saw your fiber, and I think most of it looked like it was in commercial prep. Commercial roving, if I remember right. But it may have been home processed and just packed well, just put in a braid the same way a commercial would. Save says, I think most of it is commercial, but one is a braid I bought from Etsy to use on my drop spindle, so maybe you'll try that. That's a good idea. Just a little bit of it. Just to see. Especially if you've already drafted and spun some of it on your drop spindle. So you already know how it feels to draft it. Now, because I've been spinning the other woolen on the Ara, I have to change to a woolen spin here because I want it to be the same, and my Ara is a lot better for that. Need to go a little slower, a little less pull in. Sorry, gonna get a bobbin rattle till I get some fiber on here. That is because I'm not pulling tight against the bobbin, so it rattles. Like when I was spinning woolen, I was pulling tight on it. Looks like I'm getting about the same with the long draw as I did with the aura. Which makes sense. The two spinning wheels are vastly different in appearance, but their mechanics are pretty much similar as far as bobbin driven and all that. Major differences, I don't have to treadle this one. Okay, Save is back with some news here. I had greater success on the new wool, so it's definitely a mix of being new to spinning and not having good yarn, but the humidity in the shed is getting worse and so is your headache. So I think I'll shelve this for now until the storm passes and can get some carders. Sounds like a plan. Don't give up. It will come, believe me. And don't think that this is just because you're new to spinning, because if I ever get my Ashford Traditional out, I have the same problem. I fuss and fuss and fuss and fuss, even though I have spun for years. It's just that way with spinning wheels sometimes. So, don't give up. You can do it. It will be there. And I hope your headache gets better. It's been nice hanging out with you too. Yep. Take care. Don't drown. Stay safe. See you later. Speaking of which, I should be streaming probably around this time. It depends how I feel and who's streaming when. So, but morning or... I haven't done an evening one for quite a while. Let's see. Maybe I'll do an evening one tomorrow. That's a good possibility. There's nothing else going on. And it'd be nice to sort of jump around a little bit. This week's going fast. My goodness. It's the same routine, though. I mean, my routine is not changing at all. We did go out Saturday, but we haven't been out of the house anywhere since then. I still hope to go tonight. See if there really are group knitting. I have thoroughly enjoyed having my evenings for knitting and crocheting. I've been doing a lot of crocheting lately. I finished what the Mary Maxim little book that I've been using says is a dishcloth. I beg to differ. It is out of sugar and cream, so it's very thick yarn, but it was too open of a pattern. It looks like a doily. Looks like a lace doily. So, it's in Christmas colors. Once again, I'll use it in Christmas decorating under something. I could gift this stuff, but I'm waiting until I make something that's very obviously a dishcloth, or very obviously slippers, or very obviously a scarf. When I give a gift, I want it to be obvious what it is. This is such a lovely whatever. Yeah, I know. Have you gotten gifts like that? You know exactly what I'm talking about. My goodness, the music got loud. I didn't do that. They just turned it up a little bit. Oh. To give an idea of the difference in size, I can get 4 of these bats on the one Ara bat. I think I'm only going to get one on comfortably on here. I don't want to cram it so full. Means I have to ply more often and I have less a smaller size skein. They average anywhere from 70, 80 yards for a 2-ply on these bobbins. Our average is around not quite 200, sometimes more, depending. Well, thank you for following. Frolic, how are you? Welcome. Frolic says, I'm good. New spinner here and looking for some resources. Oh, good. You came to the right place. Sock Wizard, hi. Miss Spinner's Tales. Welcome, ladies. Welcome, both of you. Always nice to meet a new spinner, and I'm glad that you thought of looking on Twitch for some resources. You can find a lot of resources on YouTube also. But I like being on Twitch. I like the live streaming here, the chatting, the community. Got goods peoples here. Sock Wizard, I want to tell you, I spent this morning trying to get all of the Sock Madness patterns. You know, that they send the link in the email. Have you gotten yours? If you haven't gotten yours, go get them. I missed one. The coupon had an expiration on July 4th. I was kicking myself for not checking sooner. So I missed that one. I can't believe they did such a short expiration, but of course I think that's up to the designer. And anyway, I got the rest of them taken care of. Oh, Frolic says I have a local teacher, which helps, and I'm so excited. Also, yeah, I totally agree. Reason streaming Twitch TV is the bomb. That's awesome. You have found a teacher, local teacher. I really think that's really great. I have taught, but not, I have demonstrated spinning, and very serious people that ask me lots and lots and lots of questions, I get up and sit them down in front of my wheel and do a little teaching. That has been the extent of my teaching. But everything I do here, I talk about, so I teach a lot here. I am spinning fiber called CVM, which stands for California Variegated Mutant. It is a very soft wool. The sheep is raised here in America, so it's American made. And I have a whole bunch of this to spin, trying to get enough for a sweater. I am spinning it to where it'll come out to about 11 wraps per inch. So that is considered an Aran weight by the yarn standards. So it should be really good for a sweater. And I know from spinning this and making other things out of it, it's just an extremely soft, wearable wool. Frolics is currently spinning on a Jensen that you're borrowing. Going to be hard to compete when looking for my own wheel. Yeah, there's a lot of good wheels out there. Depends on your price point, but just two things. Keep looking. You might find one used. They're often okay, but you should always try and spin on the wheel if you can. And that may mean you have to wait until you can travel someplace or meet up with someone or something like that. But I really recommend you spin on several wheels if you can. One of the best things that you can do is go to a store. I don't know where you are, but there are a few places that do carry spinning wheels, even yarn stores. And if you can find something like that, they will encourage you to spin on it and try it out. And if you can get to a fiber fair, if you're familiar with what I mean by that, you can find location of those by Googling. And your teacher probably can tell you all this. Probably have that information. They probably know the fiber scene. Sock Madness sounds like fun. I love knitting socks. Sock Wizard says it's a yearly event on Ravelry Frolic, speed knitting contest for socks. Best way to describe it. And then she says, I did not win. Frolic says, my teacher works for a not-for-profit. I have spun on about 15 types that have been donated to their... Oh my gosh! I haven't spun on that many wheels. You are off to an awesome start. My goodness, that's amazing. And she says that Frolic says the Jensen is a double drive Saxony with a single treble. It is a dream. See, you can say that. You are justified in saying that now because you have tried so many others. That is amazing. And Sock Wizard said, Sock Madness is fun if you don't take it too seriously. My Sock Madness, you always have to knit the first sock. And the first sock is called a qualifier, and you have 2 weeks to knit it. And then when you knit it, you submit it for approval, and you have to knit to their specifications. If they say the foot needs to be 9 inches long, the foot has to be 9 inches long. So there are people who don't agree with that. I mean, they're like, I want to knit a sock that fits. Why should I knit a sock that doesn't fit? But the whole point of the competition is to knit the pattern and knit it to specifications that they can judge against, right? They don't want to be unfair to somebody who knits a 6-inch foot when somebody else may have to knit a 9-inch because that's what fits them. They are standardizing the contest. So I can live with that. And I always get through the qualifier fine. I put a lot of effort into it because if you get through the qualifier, you do get all the patterns. And there were, between that regular and the bonus, there were about 20 sock patterns. So, that, and it always happens in March. Okay, so that's something to heads up on because the concept is, if you're familiar with college basketball, it's called March Madness for the college basketball teams, playoffs, and this is Sock Madness. While everybody's watching The basketball games were knitting socks. Okay, you're not. I'm in Kentucky. I live right near the river, so I'm in northern. I'm in near Louisville, Kentucky. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And um, Sock Wizard says, yeah, and they are all brand new sock patterns created for the event. Very good point. This is not like anybody has knit them before, so it's always a real challenge. And there's huge discussions in Ravelry as you knit. And you can ask people for help, and understanding. Um, yes, it's if you can be on Ravelry, it's fun. It's just a huge commitment to get that first one done. But after you get that in and accepted, then you can be a cheerleader and knit whatever you want and when you want. But you only get the sock patterns until the end. There'll be a couple warm-up socks. You'll have the patterns ahead of time. I mean, there'll be like 4 or 5 socks you can knit while you're waiting for everybody else to finish up to get the patterns. But, Frolic says, I used to do reenactment at Locust Grove down there every year. I know Locust Grove. Yeah. Louisville is a cool place. I live south of it on 15 acres of land. So I'm in the country, but I worked in Louisville. And we go into Louisville for almost everything. Our little town nearby here is growing all the time, so a lot of times there's what we need is there, but we can also go to Louisville. And just to add more to what's going on, we are doing Tour de Fleece. Are you familiar with that? That's what I am spinning for, is Tour de Fleece. It is connected with the Tour de France ride. And it started on Ravelry, but actually a lot of people on Twitch are a lot of people on Twitch are doing streams relating to it, but Discord. A lot of people have moved to Discord for the discussions for the Tour de Fleece. But it's also on Ravelry. There are teams. You're on a team. And so the teams are often connected to whatever the chat thread is about. And it's just all about spinning. Spinning while they spin their bicycle wheels, we spin our spinning wheels. You're captaining a team on Discord. Which team is... Oh, well, that's Sock Wizard. I know that. So I read that wrong. Frolic says, I decided my Tour de Fleece project this year was to learn to spin. There you go. You have really, really done it well. I very much admire your capability of being able to find resources like that. This is getting too thin. I need to fix that. Yeah, I know. I was reading ahead. Sock Wizard says, my Tour de Fleece project is to reach level 2 spinning. Got to get that experience. Okay, who's doing the levels on that? I always wondered where you came up with that. Is that your own personal classification? I would have no idea. Or is it based on how many years you've spun? Tell me it's based on how many years you've spun, because then I'm going to be about a level 30. Me and Snoring Cat. Yeah, yeah, it's your own. It's arbitrary. Frolic says it helps that I have friends that are spinners. Hazard of being a reenactor. Very true. Very true. I have been to any number of Renaissance fairs. Um, the closest I came to doing a reenactment was here in Louisville. Well, I'm sorry, it was here in this area on the river, downriver from us a little bit. And it was all related to Lewis and Clark. It was back in a period where they were celebrating 100 years, 200 years or something about when Lewis and Clark landed in that area. Okay. And so they were doing a big camping reenactment, and somebody saw me spinning at a fiber fair and asked if I would be willing to come and spin. I said sure. So I did that. I dressed up, and that's been my only, my 15 minutes of reenactment, although it was a couple hours. In fact, I think it was 2 days. And when I go to Ren fairs, I always take a drop spindle with me. But haven't been to one for quite a few years. I haven't been able to walk well. I'm much, much better now because I've had my knees repaired. So, you know, this is something that's looking like it'll come back in my future here. But have put it off for a while. What are we saying here? In that case, I won't be level 2 until next May. Not a real realistic goal for this Turtle Fleece. No, that's true. It is what you learn while you're doing it, right? It really is. And you know well. You know better than anybody. If you feel like you're learning and it feels right in your fingers and everything. Frolic says, that is also part of my calculus in looking at wheels. If I want to take them with me for the 18th century reenactment, a bunch of wheels will not work. Oh yeah, you can't take your electric. But that it can be your first wheel, but you may want to eventually go to, something that is your production wheel as you get into making more and more yarn and that sort of thing. I will tell you, I had a really nice wheel for that, for reenactment, or for mostly just going someplace and spinning, and that was a I've got a senior moment here. It'll come to me. It was small. I could put it in the seat. I could put a seatbelt over it, and it was really, really nice. And it's not being made anymore. And I sold it to a lady who wanted it for reenactment. So I gave it up just because I had bought another wheel, and I didn't feel like I needed that many wheels around. It'll come to me. Just give me a moment. It'll come to me. Okay, so Sock Wizard says, but by the end I will have spun every day for 3 weeks with 5 different kinds of fiber on 2 different kinds of spindles, a top whirl and a Turkish at different weights, lace to worsted, and will have learned to chain ply, yay, and hopefully ply on the fly, and I think I will feel like a level 2 spinner at a point. I think you are there. I mean, absolutely. You get the honor of changing that after your name. No double treadle either. That's right. It wasn't. It was a single treadle. Why can I not say that name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Sorry about that. Good thing double treadle felt really strange when I tried it. Really? Yeah, I like my double treadle. Now my Ashford traditional is a single treadle. I have 3 wheels. Nope, I have 4 wheels. Um, I have my very first one was the Ashford traditional Haldane. My little one was called a Haldane. That's the wheel that I sold for reenactment, and it was single treadle, only this high, very, very small, very easy to carry around. I regret it, and I don't regret it. It was just one of those things where it was time for it to go to a home where it was going to get a lot more use because I can only spin on one wheel at a time. Why should I have that many wheels? But my Ashford traditional I keep because it was my first wheel, and it's dear to my heart as a first wheel. It's cantankerous and kind of hard to spin on, and so I don't spin much, but I keep it. The one I really wanted to buy is a Magicraft Ara. It's extremely non-portable. It's extremely heavy, but it's very versatile, and I like it. And then I had this actually before I got the Ara. This is an electric. It's called a Roberta. It's made in New Zealand, and I've had this for probably 12, 13 years, and it's my production wheel. If I don't want to be treadling or whatever. And then I just got a Nano, and I love my Nano. I really do. I know that it's like 3D printed and plastic and everything, but I really like the way it spins. So if it wears out, I see if I can get another motor or whatever. I don't spend long production time on it. This one here, I can spin for hours, and it doesn't care. It's a heavier duty electric. All right. Nothing wrong with 3D printing, Wave of the Future, and Dreaming Robots is a neat company. And I found out something, not about Dreaming Robots, but 3D printing in general. Hubby and I were having a conversation about the plastic. I was saying that it's the wheels of the future are all going to be plastic, and he says that's not true. He says you can 3D print wood products, and I said no, you can't. And he said yeah, you can. So we did what we always do when we're having an argument, and that's Google it. And sure enough, there is wood composite that they can get for 3D printers. They would have to print the spinning wheel pieces, but think about that. Instead of cutting it out with a woodworker's woodworking tools, if they have the CAD pattern to print the wood for the spinning wheel, I mean, it would be so easy just to order parts. So it's going to come. We're going to see wood 3D printed spinning wheels if we aren't already seeing it and just don't know it. Is Magicraft using that? I don't know. I don't think so. Is Ashford using that? Maybe. I thought that was interesting, though. That you can 3D print wood. I just wonder what it looks and feels like. Because it is a composite. I love the wood on this one because it's a New Zealand wood, this dark wood. Oh, that just went wrong. I'm not even going to keep it. All right. I'm going to take a photo of this, and I'm going to call the stream done for today. Shutterfly is not going to know what hit him. I'm taking about 4 photos a day. My photos are being automatically uploaded to Shutterfly. That way I know I'm not going to lose them. Basically, it's a photo company that'll sell you prints and stuff like that, but they do give you free storage of your pictures. And so far, after literally 10 years of doing it, I'm still getting it free. It's a pretty cool deal. All right, I'm going to go. Glad you came, Frolic. And come back. Come back and talk. It's fun, and I want to hear all about what you spun on and what you thought about it. We'll talk wheels. All right. Sock Wizard, take care. Have a good day, rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Let me put this on full face. There we go. I will see you tomorrow. I am not exactly sure what time. I'm dithering, so it'll all be based on how I feel. How's that? And you'll get a little beep when I go live. I agree. Try spindle spinning. It is really, I mean, that is how everything was spun before the spinning wheel. So, all right, take care. Bye. Happy spinning.